rock of Melbourne. There's Akka Daka, and it's a long way to the top for, if you want a sausage roll, I think, or you want a rock and roll or something like that. It's 7 to 12. We're nearly out of time. But you know who I ran into? Mel Walden. Hi, Mel.
Amazing who you meet.
Oh, I'll turn your microphone on. That'll help.
Amazing who you meet in strange places.
It's
How are you,
incredible.
Roxanne?
I'm good. Now, you never actually worked at 3XY, did
I
you?
think I was one of the very few who didn't, sadly enough.
Yeah.
I worked at 3DB, and look what happened to 3DB. They sort of
Well,
went
actually, it's a wonder you didn't work at 3XY then, knowing the fate.
Yeah, so, I mean, you probably will re-emerge even bigger and greater.
Now, when you came in here before, you were wondering where the turntables were.
I can't get over all this electronic gadgetry. Yeah, I mean, when I was in the business, we had 3 turntables, a stack of records that you sat on your knee, and they were just the commercials.
So it's all a little bit different.
Yeah.
Do you think that 3XY is going to be a big loss?
I think it's a great loss. Very, very sad indeed. And listening to some of the calls that are coming through, it makes you realise just how far you reach out to people. I heard you mentioning before people in Burnie who rely on music, and it's the only music station they can get. And because the demise of XY is the end of music, end of a certain amount of entertainment and communication to those people. I think that's very sad.
It is sad, but, well, we'll come back bigger and better maybe one
sure
day,
you will.
as they say. No, it's been wonderful having you sort of drop in and say
I'm here
hi.
on business, but we'll have a little story for you
all these guys with the cameras, and what's that big fuzzy thing there?
Touch it and see.
Hello. I think, no, it might bite.
It will bite.
We are almost out of here. I think we can do 2 things here, guys. We've got to vote on this. We can either play one song in its whole entirety, or we can play a couple and fade them out and sort of get a few in.
Laurie, make an executive
Laurie
decision.
Executive.
I think one in its entirety.
One in its entirety. Well, in that case, we better do a little bit more talking because we've got to be able to time up.
So this is the last record on 3XY.
Well, it almost will be.
The station that was born when, in 1935?
Yeah, something like
So
that.
it's been really a major part of Melbourne's history, hasn't it?
Well, I grew up with it, Mel. I think everyone did.
Yeah.
Everyone sort of felt like it was part of their life.
I mean, the 70s, well, I mean, it was a very exciting time musically.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Did you wear, we had an ad-on earlier for Colonial flare jeans, 28-inch flare at the bottom. Now, did you ever wear those, Mel?
I think I was a 26er myself.
I can sort of see you there. You know, actually, it's still in fashion. You could wear them now and be a hip kind of guy.
Oh, I store all these things at home. I store them away. Wait for the next recycle.
A good idea. Your kids will love them. Laurie, look, just before we go, I suppose you'd like to say goodbye?
I'd like to say goodbye. I'd like to thank everyone who's listened to 3XY for all those years, and we've certainly always tried to, well, basically entertain, and that's what radio has to be. And, of course, play great rock and roll, and for certainly 30 years of 3XY, it's been uppermost in youth, and I'm sure youth will be well catered for in Melbourne, but a lot of people are going to miss 3XY.
Particularly those with trannies or only AM receivers in their cars, and there's a lot of those around. They've been ringing in this morning. I think Rick Wall is somewhere, the news director at 3XY. We'd love him to come in and just say a quick goodbye. I know he's sort of already said it, so if someone can grab Rick to say goodbye. He's been here for years too.
He has. He was here when I first joined, and he'd already come back once, and then he came back for a third time back in 1989.
Some of the biggest news people in Melbourne have worked at 3XY. Jen Kite, for once, she was here. Now, please sit down, Rick. We've got about 30 seconds before we play our very last song, and I reckon it's sort of appropriate because you were here 3 years ago and you're here right at the end.
79, when it was number 1.
79.
When I started, yes, a little bloke in short pants. And they're just pulling that life support system. I can feel it easing its way out now.
They've got the finger on the button.
3XY on air, 1935. Frank Thring's father put us on air in 1935. FT Broadcasters. So it's been a long road. Do it to us one more time.
It's time to go. 1422 3XY. We're going to rock Melbourne, and we're rocking out in the best way that we possibly can. Here's a classic from Spectrum, I'll Be Gone.
All right.
Is 3XY, the final hour.
Well, the minutes are ticking away, and very soon 3XY will be no more. What began on September 8, 1935, concludes at 1 p.m. today, September 23, 1991. I'm honoured to have been asked to fill this legendary station's final hour, but the honour is certainly tinged with sadness. My memories of 3XY are indelibly etched, as I'm sure yours are. All that remains is for me to spin in the final song, one which fits not only the theme of this hour, but also in many ways the ethic of both 3XY and Oz Rock during those halcyon days. Bon, Angus, let it rip. And I don't mean rest in peace. That was AC/DC, and this is Glenn A. Baker. Thank you for listening. After this tone, 3XY will cease transmission.